minus 107, Chelsea. Give me them. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah. Not me. I'm not going to bet Chelsea.
Hey guys, welcome to Stoppage Time, EPL edition. We are going to look at 3 games. This is what we're going to cover on today's show. We're going to look at Tottenham, Man United, big game this weekend. We're going to look at Man City, Newcastle, another big one that goes on Saturday. And then we're going to finish it off with a Sunday fixture, West Ham taking on Chelsea. Yes, you heard it right. Chelsea on this show again. Brian Power, it's his final show for a few months. We'll see him back later on, but I know he's a huge Chelsea fan as well, too. So I had to send him off without a cake, but with Chelsea. Guys, 3 big games we're going to cover on today's show. At the end of the show, you'll see what the Cappers have as their leans on the show. So if you miss it early on, you'll catch it later on. And hopefully we give you some actionable info on today's show. And of course, if you don't want to miss any of these shows, the Stoppage Time shows or any of the other shows on WagerTalk TV, click on that subscribe button. While you're there, click on the like button for the guys, and you'll never miss a show. Boys, let's get right to it, man. Tottenham and Man United, the odds on this one. Tottenham plus 186, the draw plus 265. Man United plus 137. Kev, I'm going to go to you, but I'm going to say this. I'm going to give you some thoughts on this one. I know you love the manager for Tottenham. That was a decent game for them against Brentford. I think they still have a lot of work to do on this team. Of course, obviously with Harry Kane having gone to Bayern Munich, I just think it's going to take him a while to get this team playing the way he really wants them to play. And it might not be ready this weekend. Man United, a very good team. Not a very good performance for them on Monday, so a short week. But they still got the win against Wolves. I'm going to take them plus 137. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, agree, Carmine. You know, we kind of cast our minds back to last season, and this Tottenham defense massively struggled. You know, ranked 3rd from bottom in the league in total goals allowed from January the 1st on. Allowed 40 goals across the back half of the year from just 22 games. Only Southampton and Leeds allowed more than that. 2 teams who are unfortunately no longer with us. I feel like, blessing myself with that. Have we seen an improvement in this Tottenham defence, over the summer? Mickey van der Ven potentially coming in as the guy now to partner Christian Romero at the back? Maybe, but, serious doubt remains. And, we only need to go back to last week to see that play out. 2 first-half goals for Brentford, 1.77 XG in the first half. Yes, one of those goals was a penalty, but Brentford still had 23 dangerous attacks in that half. So, I'm a Celtic fan. I loved what Postecoglou did up in Scotland. I remember breaking down the Real Madrid Champions League game with you guys in this show last year, saying, Celtic, we're going to go for the jugular in that game. That's their style of play. They're going to go at Madrid from the opening whistle because that's what he does. He imbues his team with a ton of confidence going forward, and that means they're usually extremely, dangerous in attack. But that's not the case in defence. I still have my questions about this Tottenham team from a defensive standpoint. I know Manchester United looked fairly toothless against Wolves on Monday night, but, Manchester United still have the tools to make Tottenham pay here. So, United have scored an average of 2.67 goals per game across the last three visits to Spurs Stadium. I don't see anything different here. Man United over 1.5 team total goals for me at minus 105 on Saturday. I like that price.
All right, I like that as well, Kev. And guys, when you're watching this, if you have any comments on or opinions, whether they're with us, whether they're against us, drop it in the comment section below. We'd always love to hear from you, and we'll try and respond when we can, when we see the comments, in case you guys have any questions. Brian, I'm going to go to you next on this one. Listen, last 4 Premier League games at Hotspur Stadium for United. They're 2 wins and 2 draws. Do they do it here? Give me your thoughts on this team. I'm just going to add one more thing before I go to you here. I like what the Tottenham manager did at Brentford before the game. He had his team go out to the away supporters who came, made the trip over there, acknowledged the fans. I think he's trying to build something with this team moving forward, something they didn't have before. And I think he'll get this team playing well. Does he get it done this early in the season, though.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree with what you guys had to say about the defensive question marks with Tottenham, but I know they shared the points, and Man U got all 3 the first match week, but I kind of feel like Spurs should feel better about that result. I'll get to them in a minute, but Kev hit on it. It was a lackluster result for Man U against Wolves, a team that I think we all agree is up against it in the relegation battle. Now, you look, XG numbers are going to vary depending where you get them from, but XG philosophy had Wolves 2.49 to 1.53. The Wolves had more total shots. They had more shots on target. They were creating more chances. In fact, and this is a pretty crazy stat, it was the second highest shot tally by a visiting team in Old Trafford since 2004, 2005, which is when they started tracking that data. So it was not an inspiring performance whatsoever from Man U. I saw your tweet, Carm, waiting for something to happen. It finally did in the 76th minute. They get the 1-0 win. But let's not forget, Wolves, they had that penalty appeal denied. And, that could have ended even. I mean, they feel that they should have earned a draw. It almost feels Man U was a little lucky to get all 3 points. The powers that be have already told Gary O'Neill that they made a mistake, and not to beat a dead horse here. But that was at Old Trafford against one of the worst sides in the EPL. Wolves forced into a managerial change right before the season gets underway, and they still hang around. So Spurs. I think you look at last year, they lose Harry Kane. I feel like they're kind of at their floor right now. I don't think they can be worse than they were last year. And I think there is going to be some value on them moving forward. I agree with what you guys had to say. High event matches moving forward. I think you're going to see a lot of goals when they're on the pitch. But this is a spot where I'm going to back Spurs plus the quarter goal at home. I don't see them losing. And when you talk about the top 4 race, I'm not in a rush to bet Man U to finish top 4 this year. Their midfield needs work. So give me Spurs plus the quarter goal here as my official lean. And you talk about no Harry Kane. Madison looked pretty good, so I think he could pick up some of the slack there.
Yeah, he did. I think they're really going to miss that Son Kane hookup that was deadly last season for them and contributed to a lot of goals. And as far as that penalty, to me it was clear and obvious. I thought it was a penalty. I thought the ball was past Onana by the time he came out and with both arms knocked the player over. I thought if they go to the side monitor, that is a penalty, but it did not happen. So a mistake on their part. VAR sometimes gets it wrong, Pavlos. And for you guys watching, if you thought it was a penalty or you didn't think it was a penalty, drop a comment and we'll see what the thoughts are for you guys watching there. Pavlos, I'm not sure if you watched it. You had any thoughts on that penalty, but give me your thoughts on this game.
It was a penalty. It was a clear penalty kick. And we just read a couple of days ago that the officials, the VAR, everybody who was involved in that match is not going to take a part in this week's EPL matches. So, it's just in this day and age with so many officials looking at so many screens and so many different angles, I think that there was something fishy about that penalty not being given. Wolves, to be honest, they kind of performed really well. However, they did so in the second half. In the first half, they were really terrible. Not even a shot on goal. They had just small percentage of ball possession. It was in the second half that they really, they brought in some subs and, Hwang Hee-chan might not be the fastest player of all, but they do have some talent there. To be honest, it was an abysmal performance by Cunha, whom, they spent 50 million euros to get him from Atletico Madrid, which was just a bad investment, if you ask me. But this Wolves side, they almost stole a result there. And to be honest, I think that Manchester United were a bit lucky in that match. Now, United, I didn't really like their offense. Their midfield looked just terrible. Mason Mount was played out of position. I mean, you got Eriksen there, you got McTominay there. Not a lot of depth in this United midfield, and I would expect them to sign one more midfielder for those positions. But Mount was out of position. Garnacho was nothing special. Anthony is just is very close to becoming this year's Richarlison, meaning that they spent a ton of money and they don't get any returns from him. So the way I look at this match is goals. Tottenham's defense, I think it might take them a while to gel, if they will ever gel. Christian Romero, it was one of the rarest occasions where he scored a goal and didn't get a card, but he did get subbed off at the 14th minute. A lot of upsetting situations in that Tottenham defense, penalty kick, a lot of yellow cards. So yeah, I think this is going to be a tough match. Our matches between the two sides don't really produce a lot of cards, so I left it alone. Judging by what I saw in the first two matches, which is a very small, specimen, I think there's going to be goals here. So I like the over 2.75 goals, which is a split line between over 2.5 and over 3 goals. I think there's easily going to be 3 goals in that match, maybe 4. I think, Tottenham's defense is going to suffer against this Manchester United offense. However, I want to see more from United. So this is just a lean for me. It might make my card like a 1-2%, but it's I think there's better matches to deal with in this weekend. I think this is one of the best matches to watch on TV. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm taking the goals here.
All right, Pavlos, I like that, and I think 2-1 United make both Kevin and I happy. So I think we'll go with that one. It gets you some goals, and it gets both of us a win. Guys, a quick mention to you guys out there. This is the last week to take advantage of the EPL early bird special. It's on all the cappers pages that are on this show in the soccer drop-down menu. It's regularly $2.99 for the whole EPL season. You can get it for $1.99, $100 off. So head over there. No coupon code needed. Just click on the early bird special. You'll get every single play prop, all 5% plays that are released as well too for the complete EPL season this year for $1.99. It's a great deal. Speaking of great, this is going to be a great game. Man City and Newcastle. The odds on this one, Man City minus 169. The draws plus 325. Newcastle plus 445 coming off that big win. Both teams won on opening weekend of the Premier League. Kev, I'm going to go to you, but I'm going to say this. I'm looking at the total here. Like last year, a thrilling game at St. James Park, 3-3. City came back in the second half, down 3-1. Get a couple quick goals midway through the second half, and that finishes tied at 3. They share the points. Then they play one at the Etihad, and teams just go there and want to play defense, and that's what Newcastle did. Didn't really go forward much, lose that game 2-0. I think this is the next step forward for this team. They've got to go to the Etihad. They've got to try and compete with this City team, and I think we're going to see some goals. I think both teams are going to score here, so I'm looking at the over 2.75 myself. Give me your thoughts on this game.
Completely agree, Carmine. It's funny because despite how good both of these teams were last year defensively, both of them were a full 10 goals clear of Arsenal back in third spot in terms of goals allowed. Despite that, I'm the same. I like goals in this one on Saturday as well. Newcastle were immense at the weekend against Villa. It was a competitive game despite the scoreline. Despite 5-1, Matty Cash gets that deflection in for an open goal midway through the second half. We're looking at a 3-2 game, semi-laid on, semi-competitive, but, it got away from Villa after he missed that. And Newcastle were absolutely lethal in attack. Isak pouncing on that half chance for the cheeky chip for the third goal. It was sublime finishing. Tonali, magnificent in his debut as well. Gordon was creating havoc down those wings. So Newcastle look like an extremely potent force right now, and obviously they're facing, another one in Manchester City here on Saturday as well. Another team who, if you give a half a chance to, you're going to be punished in front of goals. So, like I said, despite how good both of these teams are defensively, I'm going to look to fade that this weekend and go over the total here. Their last 7 Premier League games combined between them since 2020 have featured an average of 4.43 goals per game. And Newcastle are better offensively now than they've ever been. So, yeah, over 2.75 goals for me in this one.
Love it. We're on the same side. 4 of the last 5 games between these two in league action have gone over the total. Brian, I said to you guys before the game, if you're a City fan and you watched our preview show where we took, most of us took City to win the title, I said, hopefully they don't suffer any major injuries. And then what happens? Kevin De Bruyne goes down in the first game. He is gone for 4 months. It looks like, I hope I didn't put the hex on him. Get well soon, Kevin. But with that said, Brian, give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, that's significant, that injury. We'll get to that in a minute. But, going back to Newcastle and Villa, as soon as that match was over, I tweeted how impressive a first result. I mean, Newcastle couldn't ask for a better start to the season, right? Kevin brought up Isak, scores twice. I have the over on him, 15 and a half goals for the season. So that's a good start. I think he can challenge Haaland, honestly, for the Golden Boot if you really want to get crazy with it. And to your guys' point about expecting goals here, as a club, only Brighton created more XG in match week 1 than did Newcastle, and Brighton obviously had the luxury of facing Luton Town. So great start for Newcastle, but I'm going to say pump the brakes just a little bit. I talked about on the show last week how important it was, for them that match was at St. James Park. Maybe last week says more about Villa than it does Newcastle. I don't know, but you got the Magpies going to the Etihad now, and I don't know how many more times this season, guys, we're going to see City this cheap on home soil. The injury to De Bruyne is significant, and City's got a match today, as we're recording this Wednesday, midweek, the Super Cup against Sevilla. That makes it 4 competitive matches for them in August already. But again, when I was looking at the number here, I just don't think you're going to get the champs this cheap at home very often this season. Haaland scored twice. He's in fine form. This probably doesn't make my card, but City to win by exactly 1 goal plus 220 at DraftKings is appealing to me. And I think that is the way I would play this very difficult match to break down.
All right. Brian Power, WagerTalk.com. What are his thoughts on City and Newcastle? Pavlos, we're going to give you the final word on this one. And Brian mentioned, obviously, Wednesday, the Super Cup that's being played in Athens, Sevilla and Manchester City. It wouldn't shock me in this Super Cup that is being played obviously before this Newcastle game if we see obviously some of their starters come out halfway through the second half, depending on what the score is. There's greater things at risk here, and it's only round 2 of the EPL season, but every game is going to be important for City. They'd love to win a trophy, but I think it's a marathon and not a sprint. So give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, well, this match couldn't come. I'm talking about today's Super Cup final at the worst timing, because I really do think that City, as you said, they're not going to use their starters. So if you're looking to bet something in this match, in the Super Cup final, just be careful with it, because now that De Bruyne is injured, Bernardo Silva is out for this match. I'm not sure about his status about the weekend. So Laporte, one of their center backs, was linked to a Saudi side. So there's stuff going on in the background. While Newcastle, they're healthy. They started the season with a 5-1 win against Aston Villa. They're full of confidence. I'm not sure how Pep will, mix and match his squads to keep I think he's gonna probably use like a Rico Lewis or Sergio Gomez or the younger guys in today's match to try to field whatever their best starting 11 in this match against Newcastle. However, losing Kevin De Bruyne just takes a lot out of your creative opportunities. Even though he used him, in a defensive midfielder sort of position, and now he said that Calvin Phillips is gonna play there. Calvin Phillips hasn't played like regular soccer in like 2 years, so I'm really kind of worried about how City's offense will look like. Because, as we said, Bernardo Silva is probably out for this weekend match against Newcastle as well. Now, this match is tricky, guys, because you got to take the over, because City are at home. They can score like 2-3 goals on their own in the first half. Newcastle suffer from somewhat of an inferiority complex when visiting the Etihad. However, they haven't had a proper team or such a good side in decades. This Newcastle, if ever. So this could be an under. So the way I see it, I'm going to take both teams to score. Don't care who wins. I think Newcastle dropping 5 in the first match against Aston Villa. They know that even if they score at least once, they're going to put a lot of pressure in Manchester City. And Manchester City's difference, they have, as I said before this show, they got like 7 center backs that can play defensive midfielders. They can play wing backs. Pep has got a lot of players who can play a lot of positions. So I'm guessing that he can mask whatever problems have risen in the past couple of days. But I do think that Newcastle can at least score once here, and I don't see City not scoring. So give me both teams to score. Price is -126. Don't care who wins.
Don't care who wins. I love it, Pablo. So we got to put that on a T-shirt. And yeah, before we move on to the final game, the thing with Silva on Wednesday is, he played 90 minutes at Turf Moor in that first one. They say he's unwell, but there's also the transfer rumors. PSG are looking to make a move. Barcelona looking to make a move. So we'll see what happens there with him, but he will not be in the lineup as being reported on Wednesday. And then we'll see what happens as far as Saturday goes. If that unwell stretches through the weekend, and then we know something is definitely up. Speaking of up, Chelsea is up. It is West Ham and Chelsea on Sunday. West Ham plus 297, the draw plus 261. Chelsea minus 107. Favorites on the road. Here, Kev, I'm going to go to you first on this one. I will say, while that game finished in a 1-1 draw on Sunday, I was really impressed with how Chelsea played that game. First game under Pochettino, first league game under Pochettino for them. They really moved the ball quickly through the midfield and into the final third. They just couldn't find the back of the net after that first goal that they got. But still, some positive signs from this team, and now they go to West Ham. I'm willing to take him here. Minus 107, Chelsea. Give me them. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah. Not me. I'm not going to bet Chelsea. This is another tough one. I thought West Ham were a little unlucky last week against Bournemouth. They started that game well. They looked to be fairly in command early. The ball coming back off the post. The game slightly got away from them as it went on, but Bowen was good in that game. Cherries obviously grabbed that late equaliser, but even with a less than ideal draw, you'd say, against Bournemouth in that game, West Ham definitely already, even after one game, looked like an upgraded version of the team we saw for 75-80% of last year. So I'm not necessarily in agreement with the odds here. Chelsea are odds-on favourites to win this game, as you mentioned, across town in East London. A venue they've won just once since 2017. And, while the performance was somewhat impressive against Liverpool, the fact that this Chelsea line has actually moved 18 cents since the last time they visited here back in February, that was against a West Ham team who were knee-deep in the relegation dogfight back then. They had the same points as Leeds. They were joined fourth from the bottom. And now Chelsea are even stronger favourites against the West Ham team who look in much better shape than they did back then. Almost 20 cents better. I can't do it. I'm going to continue not to fade Chelsea. I'm not going to be on West Ham in this game, but I just have to keep clear of this Chelsea lines until these lines start to make a bit more sense for me. 2 of the last 5 games here have seen outright draws. 2 have been West Ham wins. Chelsea have won here just once across that time frame. So I'm quite happy to take a piece of the plus. If I had to do it, West Ham will be the side, but I like the plus 261 on the outright draw. It looks like a massive price this weekend in East London.
All right, there you guys have it. Kevin Dolan and I are going mano a mano on this one. Drop a comment and let us know who you think or who you're siding with on this one. Brian, we talk about sometimes you watch a game and it's much like the Liverpool-Chelsea game. Looked very exciting, up and down the field. It looks like there's a lot of chances. And then you look at the XG numbers after the game, and it doesn't resemble what you saw in the game. You look at the final numbers for the Chelsea-Liverpool, I'm seeing 131 to 123 in favor of Chelsea, finishes 1-1 draw. And you look at the West Ham and Bournemouth game, 1-1 draw, 113 to 114. The 114 belonging to West Ham, basically nothing separating the two and nothing separated the two on game day when it was over and done. Are you thinking total here or are you thinking side?
Yeah, look, I feel like this is like an Alcoholics Anonymous impression here because, hello, my name is Brian Power, and I cannot stop betting on goals to be scored in Chelsea matches. The only loss for me on opening weekend was the over with this stupid team. It's 1-1. We're not even 40 minutes in. I'm like, all right, we're obviously going to get one more goal. And we didn't. The goals were barred off, and those were correct decisions. We talked about, let's give credit where credit's due. We talked about how Wolves should have been awarded a penalty in the earlier breakdown. Those were correct decisions with the VAR on that one. West Ham, 1-1 draw in their first match. I actually gave out Bournemouth as a free play, draw no bet line, so that's a push. To Kevin's point, I don't think the Hammers can be worse than they were last year. They finished 14th. I talked earlier about maybe last year was the floor for Spurs. I kind of feel that with West Ham as well. There's no way that they're not going to finish higher in the table. As far as the pricing goes, I think there's this perception, and I'm not going to disagree with it, that West Ham didn't do a ton in the offseason to improve its ranks. So that's maybe why we see them priced the way they are. I'm not even going to go back and bother rehashing all this stuff I said about Chelsea last week and how we should expect more goals being scored in their matches this season. Just trust me on it, okay? I think both teams will score, yes. Seems fairly priced. It's minus 130. We're going to do it. That prop was a winner both times these teams played last year. And it should be pointed out, somebody mentioned this, in the West Ham-Bournemouth match last week, there were multiple shots that hit the woodwork. So that could have been higher scoring as well. I think both teams get on the score sheet here. Let's go with that. Come on, there's got to be more goals here with these Chelsea matches this year. That will be my final gift to each and every one of you.
I love it, Brian. And, I felt the same way. I had over 3 in that game. And much like the fans who hate VAR because they want to celebrate, but they're looking for an offside flag to go up. They're looking for something before they can actually celebrate. I was going to tweet out Mo Salah, 7 straight season opening goals in the first game. And I waited because I just thought, let's see if there's a VAR on this one. And there was, and it was chalked off, as you said. And it breaks his streak of scoring in the opening game of the EPL season. Pavlos, give me your thoughts on this one. You're going to close out this game for us.
Okay, I was looking for West Ham to bring in some reinforcements in the transfer window because, they sold Declan Rice for quite a lot of money. They have a lot of money to spend. And what are they looking for? They're looking for center backs. They want to get Harry Maguire from Manchester United. Okay, hear me out here. Harry Maguire was a good defender until he was transferred. He became the highest, the biggest transfer of a defender in the EPL in the world. And that really got into his head. And he's been horrible. Last season, if anybody was following the EPL, you saw how the thousands of memes that were created about how Harry Maguire is just a trash player. Now, West Ham want him. The deal, fell through because, I don't know, for whatever reason. And the second option is a Greek centre-back, Konstantinos Mavropanos, who played for Arsenal. Last season, he played for Stuttgart. I think West Ham are trying to get relegated. These are 2 of the worst centre-backs you could possibly want to spend money on. Trust me, I've been following Mavropanos since he was transferred out of Greece. The guy is not even good enough to play in Greece, to be honest. He's a hothead. Last season with Stuttgart, he got 10 yellow cards in 30 matches. He caused a lot of problems to his team's defensive, mechanisms. He played for Greece in the national team. He caused some stupid penalty kicks that cost us a lot of points. I'm not sure what West Ham are trying to do with that Declan Rice money, but that's not it. However, they did look kind of good in that first match, even though, they have some clear gaps in the roster, mainly in the midfield. This is a very tricky match, guys. I wouldn't be surprised by a 1-1 draw. I wouldn't be surprised if West Ham won. I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea won. I wouldn't be surprised by over 2.5 goals. I wouldn't be surprised by under 2.5 goals. And you know what I do in situations like this? There's a specific prop that is available at DraftKings, Pinnacle, FanDuel. In most sportsbooks, there's a prop that has to do with goals. It's called exactly 2 or 3 goals at minus 105. If you shop around, you can find it at plus money. Now, this is one of my favorite bets, and it's actually available. It's widely available. So I'm not going into the twilight zone here. I'm not giving out a prop that's only available in my book. It's available in many books. Now, we don't care who wins. We don't care who scores the goals, just as long as the match total falls within 2 or 3 goals. Now, let me tell you, this is one of my favorite props for several reasons. Because it covers 7 possible scenarios. The 1-1 draw, the 2-0 for either side, the 2-0 win for either side, the 2-1 win for either side, and the 3-0 win for either side. That's 7 of the most possible outcomes in football statistically. If you look at the history of soccer, you'll see that statistically these 7 outcomes are the most possible in soccer. So in situations like this where you don't know who's going to win or if it's going to be a draw or if you're not unsure, not sure about the totals, I like it. This is one of the props that has paid me dearly over the years, and I keep chasing it in matches like this. I'm not going too high on it. Maybe just a 1 unit tops just to keep it interesting, but I like the exactly 2 or 3 goals at -105. And again, it's available in every sportsbook. You just go to game props or look for total goals or total goals range. So that's my favorite play in this match.
Pavlos, I like that. Basically, I think if I was to give people the Cold Notes version of what you just said, is that Chelsea is going to win this game by a 2-1 scoreline, exact scoreline. And if you're looking for what the payout is on that 2-1 scoreline for Chelsea, it is paying at plus 850. Chelsea to win 2-1 exact score plus 850. I think that makes us all happy, makes Brian happy. I think we all get there, except for Kev. Kev's not happy about it, but you can drop him your condolences in a comment at the bottom of this video, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video, guys, as well too. Guys, I've got an EPL soccer play going this weekend, a 5% play. You can use coupon code EPL10, and that'll get you $10 off of the price of that 5% play this weekend. And of course, we have that early bird special up as well too. Kev, I'm going to go to you as we finish off the final segment of the show. Tell us what you're going to have up at WagerTalk, or what you have up, and we'll have a look at your plays and leans on today's show.
Yeah, we'll have our plays loaded up by end of day Thursday for the weekend, Carmine. Really happy with how things have started, obviously. Number 1 in soccer across the last 3 days, last 7 days. Already circled some huge step outs for this weekend as well. So make sure, as you said, take advantage of that $1.99 EPL season offer while it's still up. $100 unit bettors, I should say, who joined us before last week's opening weekend. You're already up $1,200 heading into week 2. It's only August. We're obviously riding all the way through until May 2024. So a great deal to lock in before this weekend.
Awesome. Good to hear. Brian, we appreciate all your knowledge that you bring to the show. Enjoy your time off. It's not really time off. You're going to be doing a lot of sports at WagerTalk, but we'll see you when you're ready to come back on the show and give us more of that knowledge. But let us know what you have up at WagerTalk, and we'll have a look at your leans on today's show.
So it was a good opening weekend, 3-1. We should have been 4-0 if not for that over with Chelsea. But I'll take 3-1 every week. Obviously, Kevin mentions it's a long grind all the way to May of next year. A couple special offers. Just to let you know, tomorrow is my birthday. I'll be in Vegas, of all places. I'm sure that's going to end beautifully. But you can use the code BDAY17 to get a one-day pass for $17. That is valid today, tomorrow, or Friday, each of the next 3 days. That is code BDAY17 to get a one-day all-access for $17. Or you can use code POWER25. That's power followed by the number 2 and 5 to save 25% off any regularly priced product on my page. Hopefully, the goal is to get all my soccer picks loaded before I get on the plane tomorrow. And then we're just going to win them all, hopefully, and have a fun weekend in Vegas.
I love it. So we're going to win them all. I'm taking off tomorrow morning as well, too. Brian, I'll see you in Vegas, of course. I'll be at Circa. If you guys are in Vegas and you want to watch some EPL on Saturday or Sunday, I'll be in the sportsbook at Circa. Come down. I'll buy you a beer. It's 5 o'clock somewhere all the time. So I'll buy you guys a few drinks and we'll celebrate Brian's birthday. Pavlos, tell us what you got going at WagerTalk, and we'll have a look at your leans on today's show.
Yeah, I made a really good start, 2-0 with these EPL matches, won my 4% and a 3% as well. I do have a 5% for the weekend and 4% best bets for both Saturday and Sunday. Now, I'm on a 15-5 run in last 25% releases. Number one in 5% releases year to date with a 65% win rate and 26-14. And number one in 5% releases in over a year since June of 2022 with a 67% win rate, 51-25. So one big play, 5% for the weekend, and a couple of best bets, 4% best bets for both Saturday and Sunday. So let's get it.
All right, let's get it indeed. And of course, guys, my EPL card will be up shortly after this show. And of course, I already have a 5% play loaded for the weekend, which you can use coupon code EPL10 to get $10 off of that. We'll be back next week, guys. Let's wish Brian a happy early birthday. And for myself, Pavlos, Kevin, Brian, and our fantastic producer, Dan Alexander, this is Stoppage Time. We'll see you next week.